Hello again, friends of the internet. I hope you are all having a swell day. If you are like me and have been holding on to Marin Software or MRIN stock through the week, I would like to congratulate you as you can now add JuiceMaker to your skills and qualifications because you have been squeezing the shorts on this stock lately. Again, the stock jumped out of the gates at open due to large pre-market interest, hitting a record high price of $27.26 before a quick decline where it found itself in a holding pattern of sorts and spent most of the day floating between the $23 and $25 price range before closing at $24.14, up a total of 18% on the day. So another strong day from MRIN. Again, in the aftermarket trade, we saw some more gains made to MRIN stock as it crept up to $24.35, which suggests that we could be set for yet another day squeezing the shorts on this one. Anyway, in this video, what I'm looking to do is go through some analysis of MRIN stock in recent times, as well as look at how the short interest is playing out, as well as some general sentiment around the stock. So sit back and enjoy. What this is here is an hourly chart of MRIN over the last 2 weeks. And what you can see is a pattern that sort of starts to emerge around here, where we see a sharp rise at the opening of trade on most days. So we see sharp rise here. There's another one here. And here's yesterday's one here. So you see this nice sharp rise at the open of trade. There tends to be a little bit of a drop off, and then we sort of see this sort of pattern of a relatively stable price range. This day was a decline, but it's the pattern that we've seen occurring quite regularly. So on this slide, I've added the volume weighted moving average just to give you an indication on the uptick in trade activity. So we've recently spoken about the astronomical rise in trading volume in this period. On this chart, this is best illustrated by the 20-day volume moving average, the thin aqua line. That's this one here. That rises the highest. Okay, just try to roughly follow it with my pen. The volume of shares being traded has reduced slowly as the price has increased, as seen by the slow flattening of these indicators, perhaps better seen in the 50 and 100-day moving averages. So you can see that there's this initial spike. Oops. Okay, and then these lines here actually appear to be flattening out a little bit. Even the light blue one's flattening out a little bit as well, the aqua one. This is partly due to the affordability of the stock as the price climbs higher, but also I think that more and more traders are locking in their shares for this potential short squeeze. For this slide, I've added in, I think it's called Chaikin's volatility indicator, which shows the trading range between highs and lows for the period, in this case on an hourly basis, and gives us a little bit of a reading on volatility. It would seem that the volatility has been flattening out, which further suggests that retailers are increasingly buying and holding MRIN stock in a sort of buy and hold pattern each day, which is stopping the price from fluctuating as much as it did early on about 2 weeks ago, at least from a percentage perspective. So you can see that these spikes in volatility down here at the bottom, they're kind of actually trending downwards, which means that there is actually a lowering in volatility in the trading of the stock. So the price is becoming more stable despite it still going up. Again, we'll be looking at Chaikin's volatility here on a zoomed in view. In this case, we're looking at it on a 2-minute basis for the last 5 days of trade. The amount of price volatility appears to be flattening from day to day outside of price spikes at the start of the day. So you can see at the start of each day we're getting these price spike. Here's a particularly big one that came on Thursday. Keep in mind the dates here are slightly different because I'm trading for the future because I come from Australia.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
Perhaps that's why I'm such a good trader, because I come from the future. And then we had this big spike here yesterday, as well as one here. So there's a bit of a pattern there. The amount of price volatility appears to be flattening from day to day outside of price spikes, again showing that buy and hold movement each day. And the level that is being held onto is higher for each day, which I think is potentially short sellers leaving those ultra expensive positions they have been holding. Looking at a 2-minute chart from yesterday's trade, we can see that there is almost a corridor that the prices moved around through most of the day, centered by the $24 mark. So those bad drawn lines there are me trying to put in that rough corridor that you can see. Granted, the price is still moving about 4% in either direction of that line, both above and below that mark, but we are not seeing any large breakouts or steep declines relative to these fluctuations. This is further supported by the flattening pattern in trade volume after open. People are buying and holding, and I think the daily bump in price is the short sellers exiting their unsuccessful trades. So you can see after this opening period here, we're actually seeing quite a flat sort of trend along here, which is different to what we had seen in other days recently. It's been a bit more choppy there, but it was relatively flat yesterday. I've also thrown in the RSI indicator here, or also known as the relative strength index. When that line, that squiggly line in between, crosses 70, it suggests a period of the stock being overbought, and when it falls below 30, it has been oversold. It's a great tool for working out good times to enter and exit trades. Now, the fact that it has more or less stayed in that band and not really moved outside of it for meaningful periods of time is another indicator of stability that has been coming each day for the MRIN stock price. It will be interesting to see if we get a similar pattern like this in the days ahead. So you can see, other than this little, there's this little bit at the open where it crossed the mark, a small little moment here, and just there. So other than that first one, there was only 2 instances where it had been overbought, and there was only this small little bit here of it being oversold. When I zoom out and look at the RSI in the previous 4 days of trade, we can say that it has moved outside of that 30 to 70 band to greater extents prior to today's trade. So you can see there's a particularly big one here, again one of those opening jumps, over here, over here, over here, a little bit over there, and then we have this couple of instances down the bottom here where it had been oversold. To me, there is a sense of stability emerging with the stock price. However, it is worth pointing out that market-wide it was generally a fairly flat trading day yesterday. Anyway, I think traders realize that with the small market cap and stock float, it is quite easy for them to take control of the short squeeze, and I think now we are starting to see the juice come out of the short sellers. Looking at updated shorts data, again, it can be hard to get accurate figures for this. However, looking at the short volume for Tuesday's trade, over here, 13,219,000. While there is a big drop from what was being seen last week, short sales still account for more than the entire float yesterday of MRIN stock. And given that the stock price for a large part of trade did not have any major plunges other than just after the opening spike, there was again not much of a chance for short sellers to make anything other than small profits, as other traders appear to be buying and holding at these increasingly high levels, i.e. committing to the short squeeze. The short borrow rate, this figure down here, has declined slightly from Friday for MRIN. It is now 195%, which is down from Friday's 210% per annum, which also suggests that overall outstanding short positions has likely dropped to an extent. Therefore, yesterday we possibly successfully squeezed some of the shorts out. In terms of sentiment around MRIN, yesterday the amount of mentions of Marin Software received jumped on Wall Street Bets, though looking at this data with only 12 mentions in the last 24 hours, this actually makes me think that there is potentially still a lot of people out there who are unaware of the short squeeze taking place, which I guess also reflects the scale of MRIN as a company, which I guess also reflects the small market cap scale of MRIN as a company. While Marin Software has a small market cap, currently at $265 million, which has recently ballooned due to the recent rapid increase in stock price, they are a legitimate company with a market-leading product. However, given that their main service is targeted at those looking to place advertising campaigns across multiple platforms, it is not an everyday brand that people are going to be aware of, or indeed a brand with high general visibility. The obscurity from the public is perhaps a little to the detriment of this short squeeze, as it will likely remain hidden. In a previous video, I analysed some key financial indicators for MRIN, which suggest that there is a bit of a turnaround occurring for the business, so there is a brighter future for the company. Whether or not that means the current stock price level is already beyond where it should be remains to be seen. At the end of the day, MRIN is clearly a good company which seems to be taking a turn for the better, particularly following the recent Instacut news, which we've talked about quite a bit on here. I know that this short squeeze can't run forever, but it seems to still have some potential in it. The average duration for short sale arrangements is only a little over a day, which is why there is such a high interest rate to borrow stocks. This makes me think there is still some juice to be squeezed from this trade. Of course, this is only speculation on my part and should not be interpreted as investing advice. Anyway, that's about all I have for you guys on this one. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you have not done so already, I would encourage you to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. It's one of the best ways you can help out a small and upcoming channel such as mine. Until next time, team, I hope we can get another glass of Marin software juice out of this squeeze. Take care. See you later. Bye.